You already know what time it is. One Mac Miss the host of the most don't need to brag no more, so I will get a toast to the real folks. Who done paved the way, the real way for us players to play. And let's talk about it. I gotta break this shit down for y'all real quick, little snake, you know what I'm saying? Because it seems to me that they got this whole shit fucked up. This could be violated in this school, bro. They got us thinking that it's cool to be a fool. So when I was looking at this whole RKelly situation, I'm like, God damn it. They're really going in on this fool, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, sexual deviancy is one thing, but whole racketeering charges and all that, that's something else, you know what I'm saying? So I was looking at the Mann Act, and I was like, God damn, this shit is inherently racist. So I did some more research. I'm like, first of all, when Harvey Weinstein got locked up, he got released on the grounds of COVID. Everything that was going on with COVID, so he got released. They never spoke about putting him back in jail or nothing like that, you know what I'm saying? There was some litigation, you know what I'm saying? Some bullshit that they were saying, but they weren't saying nothing real, substantial, you know what I'm saying? To give us a clear okay of his justice being served, you know? So he's probably still outside with all this COVID shit going on, you know? House arrest type shit. Mind you, he got a 23-year sentence. Ed Buck. How come we don't talk about Ed Buck? Killed a couple of black folks in his house. Got arrested for it. Still nothing's happening, you know what I'm saying? So I had to look at this whole situation and be like, God damn it. They're really trying to hold my people down, hold my people back. But I ain't even worried about that. I'm just looking at the picture that they're painting. RKelly's the face of pedophilia and rape. No. And if you're going down for racketeering, shouldn't there be some type of co-conspirators or something like that? I don't know. That's how I look at it. So I was going through my YouTube, and I stumbled across sorry y'all, my bad, you already know how I get down. You already know my thug dizzle, you know what I'm saying? I'm just keeping it real with y'all, chopping it up with y'all, and see how y'all feel about it, you know what I'm saying? You already know what time it is. Black Lives Matter all day, every day, you know what I'm saying? I want to do some coonery and buffoonery and bring awareness to it, you know? Bring some balance. So, as I look through this whole situation, I'm like, oh, okay. Something's going down. They fucking with Robert Kelly because they want to make him to be the mascot for this whole shit, right? Alright. So I stumbled upon Tariq Nasheed live yesterday, and he was kicking some real game about it. And I have to give it up to him because it's real in the field, man. And he was explaining the Mann Act and what it entails. So I'm just gonna go let him explain it a little bit better because that's an act that's brought out in the States, you know, against black folk. Having immoral and unconventional sex with a minor. the state. Because parents, people that are fueling RKelly, it's only a matter of time when they bring it down. Like they did Prince, like they did Michael Jackson, RKelly. Next, who they gonna move for? Chris Brown. So I'm looking and listening. And Tariq Nasheed brought something to my attention about the Mann Act and how racially discriminatory the whole thing is, you know. So he said that they pull a Jedi mind trick on the case, and I think they did because for them to charge him with racketeering, they really had nothing on him because they should have charged him with basically holding a person against their will. That's kidnapping. And if you did rape, it would be rape, right? So they're trying to get him on some trumped up charges. Well, not trumped up, but you know, they're playing with the whole thing. So I'm gonna let Tariq Nasheed break it down because he was coming with some real shit and I applaud him. I understand where he's coming from. You know what I'm saying? So I'll let him break it down real quick for y'all.
Slowing down, the whole EP is coming out tomorrow night at midnight, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to be here at 45 to 90 minutes. That's beardtreeoiland.com. I am the college you having maximum. And I say so. Tactics that was used in this RKelly case. Now let's be clear. Anybody doing some pedo shit, ain't nobody co-signing that. Ain't nobody co-signing any pedo shit. Ain't nobody co-signing anything that has something to do with harming kids, harming young women, harming young girls. Nobody's co-signing that, and people know that. But when people start asking about the law, then we get these shaming tactics. When people come on, and they're really just getting their talking points from white people. Ilya, come on, buddy. He's a pedophile, dude. No, hold on. If he's a pedophile, charge him for pedophilia. This case wasn't a pedophile case. If he's a pedophile and he's messing with kids or whatever, charge him with that. I have no problem with people getting charged for the crime they committed. Charge him for the crime he committed. Here's the thing. They know they really didn't have anything to charge him with as far as that. So they had to do some I'm white and I say so stuff. See, that's where it gets dangerous, guys. No. We can't just say, yeah, white mommy and white daddy are white and they say so we got to go along. No. They start talking about racketeering, RICO charges. Now we're getting into dangerous territory, black folks, and black folks need to really listen. Stop co-signing shit where you're shooting yourself in your own foot. Because this wasn't about no justice. This became some I'm white and I say so shit. And watch all the shaming tactics. Whenever people start questioning some of these janky laws, and they start saying, hey, you sound like you supporting the pedophile. You sound like you co-signing harming kids. That's a shaming tactic. And when people do that, that's a red flag. And understand, when they start using these janky I'm white and I say so laws, white supremacist society, they kind of get on code with each other and go along with it. And they don't have a problem doing that to a black person because they know white society is going to be on code. So there's not going to be any pushback from white society generally. And then when black folks start questioning, you got to have Negroes standing around trying to shame black folks who question it. Hold on, these were black women involved now. Hold on, do you like black women? What is it? What you trying to say? questioning it. He guilty. White mommy, white daddy said he guilty. That means he is guilty. All right, charge him for what he's guilty for. Don't start trying to redefine what racketeering is, because that's what this was. This was a racketeering case. Look at the words. Look at how they do these things. Yeah, somebody brought up that DJ Poe. There's a white man out there who was allegedly raping a bunch of underage black girls and giving them AIDS allegedly out there in, was it North Carolina? They didn't get this dude. It was like, and he bragged about all the hundreds of women that he done laid that with. He was online bragging about how many sisters he done knocked down. Yeah, I done knocked down 600-700 of them. He was online bragging. They didn't hit this dude with no damn Rico. See? Watch what y'all celebrate, man. They didn't hit Woody Allen with no damn Rico. Hell, is Harvey Weinstein? Did they hit him with the Rico? Because see how they justified the whole Rico statute and how they were able to include Aaliyah, which the statutes of limitations for any type of rape or pedophilia, that's over. If you put it into the context of racketeering and try to make it seem like he was a one-man organization that got into the music industry just for the sole purpose of preying on women. That's how they framed it. That's unwhite not saying so. Literally, that's how they framed this thing. They tried to make it seem like, okay, he's a one-man criminal organization, and the managers and the roadies and all of these other black folks who were around him was complicit in the organization. They used "I'm white and I say so." That's a dangerous precedent because they can use it for anything now. So family, for your black ass, if you and your homies are out hanging out somewhere and your homeboy gets into an argument at a Chinese restaurant and says, "Fuck this Asian food," they can say that's racketeering because it's a hate crime and you are with other people who share your same ideology. They can flip it like that and say, hey, not only was this an Asian hate crime, a hate crime against Asians, it's racketeering because there was you and some other people who enabled you and they didn't stop you. This is what I'm saying. They can expand this shit any way they want to using "I'm white and I say so," especially when it comes to charging black people. You understand? And people got mad at Bill Cosby because he put out a statement saying that he was railroaded, which he was. R. Kelly was railroaded, and nobody's caping for anything negative that R. Kelly did. And I put up a tweet. Nobody's co-signing any of R. Kelly's actions. He did some foul shit. Yeah, he did. We know that. Charge him for the foul shit. Yeah, R. Kelly did some foul shit. Charge him for that. I don't have no problem with somebody being charged for some foul shit they did, but I will not co-sign the white supremacists within the judicial system using R. Kelly as a Trojan horse to bring in some other complete bullshit that can later be used against any random black person arbitrarily. This is where we have to speak up. So they tried to shame Bill Cosby. Chuck D, they tried to shame Chuck D. Let me find this thing where they tried to shame Chuck D. They made our brother Chuck, and Chuck is my guy. They made him issue an apology. Chuck D issues an apology after R. Kelly tweet. He said, what did Chuck say? Where's the tweet? Where did he say? What did he say? Hold on. Let me see if they got the tweet here. Okay, they didn't even put the tweet up in their article. I hate when they do that. Because I want to read the tweet. The tweet wasn't bad. Okay, here it is. Hold on. What the hell is it? Okay. He said, let's see. Okay, this is the damn shade. Okay, what did he say? Okay, here's the tweet. This is shady. He said, interesting to see the conversation 34-year-old comment. Okay, they got a whole bunch of extra shit in there. Okay, they shade room is doing they cooning. Okay, I'm trying to find. I wanted to find the actual tweet. He was talking about basically what Chuck D said, and they won't put the damn tweet up in these bullshit articles. He said something to the effect of, hopefully he can come out of jail a better person, like Rick James came out a better person. Certain people went to jail and they came out a better person. Ike Turner came out a better person or whatever. So they jumped on that and then made Chuck D apologize. So they are engaging in all of these shaming techniques.
Do you want to make $1,000 today and then $1,000 a day, every day? You will only need 5 minutes and my team will do the rest.
They're engaging in shaming techniques. Yeah? And here's the thing, listen. With this whole R. Kelly thing, they understand that people are generally going to be against any type of acts that potentially harm children. They know that. And this is just their opportunity to sneak in a whole bunch of other stuff. We better watch these precedent-setting agendas. Because, see, what's very disturbing about this R. Kelly case was that they used something called the Mann Act. They used something called the Mann Act. And family, the Mann Act, ladies and gentlemen, that's a law. I think they created that law in 1910. That law, by its very definition, is a racist ass law. The law was created. The Mann Act, ladies and gentlemen, it was created specifically to target black men who were having interracial sexual relationships with white women. That's why the Mann Act was created. It was named after a prosecutor or a political.
You hear that? The Mann Act. And what did they used to call the all black exploitation movies? They used to come take down righteous brothers and shit like that. This ain't done by coincidence. It's all done by design. It's your mind. Gotta shut down all these narratives, It's fake tactics that they use to demonize us.
Political guy, I think his name was Charles Mann. Something Mann. His name was Mann. His last name was Mann. But that's not the actual official name of the law. The law is actually called the White Slave Trafficking Act. Google what I'm saying. Google the Mann Act. It's the legal name of it is called the White Slave Trafficking Act. They created that to go after black men. It's a racial law. They said if a white woman is sleeping around with a black man, they have to treat her like she's a white slave, like she's a victim. And they used that law to go after Jack Johnson. They had to make a big splash about going after Jack Johnson. They literally created that law for him because he was going around making all this money, beating up white men and fucking white women. So they had to create a law for this dude. So what they did, after they saw he was running around with these white women all around the country, they created a law in 1910 and then went back and charged him for some shit he did back in 1909, I think, before the law was in effect, because he was hanging out with white women before. So they made a law and then went back and charged him for something that he was doing when the law didn't even exist. It was for black men having sex with white women. That was a way to punish black men for going after white women. Y'all better understand what the hell you're co-signing. And they don't really use that law unless it's a black man. They even use that law on Chuck Berry. The singer Chuck Berry, they used the Mann Act on Chuck Berry. For years, people have been saying this law needs to be struck off the books. This law is a racialized law. Just by its definition, it's a racial law. And they make it so vague where you can interpret it many different ways. And that's on purpose, because they enforce it arbitrarily, and they usually just enforce it on black people. Yeah, they used that same law on Chuck Berry back in 1959. Chuck Berry met a female down in Mexico at a bar. She told him she was 21, and he got with her, and she went with him back to St. Louis. Found out she was a 14-year-old girl. She was a French Apache mixed chick. So he went to jail, and plus, it was a racialized thing in court. The judge was referring to Chuck Berry as a nigga, and it was a whole big debacle, but they ended up putting him in prison because of that. They put him in prison because of that. You better watch what you co-sign. Yeah, this ain't just about the RKelly case, and you better understand when these people are rolling in the okie doke on our ass. See, they'll use a big case like this to say, okay, look, we're going to get the public. We'll just keep throwing out underage girls. And this trial really wasn't about underage girls. It was a racketeering trial. That's very important to understand. And the Mann Act, meaning the Mann Act basically means you transport women across the country, or you go across state lines to engage in immoral practices. That's literally what it is. And who determines what is immoral and what is not immoral? Well, white mommy and white daddy determines that. This is how arbitrary the Mann Act is. I can't co-sign you using a known racialized law like the Mann Act. Let's look at the Mann Act. Let's look at the Mann Act from a legal standpoint. We're just talking law. All that, but he's guilty though. We ain't doing that emotional stuff. We're talking law. We're talking law here. Yeah, ain't nobody doing all this stuff. They didn't do all that to Elvis when he was running around here with 14 and 15-year-olds. And by the way, speaking of Jack Johnson, ladies and gentlemen, they had to throw out that thing 100 years after he died, basically. Decades and decades after Jack Johnson died, they had to kind of clear his name because of those bogus-ass racist charges. Look that up. I think it was Trump who threw that shit out. It was thrown out under Trump. But those racist charges against Jack Johnson, they waited till he died to throw the charges out and say, hey, our bad. It was a racial law. He shouldn't have been charged with it, so we'll scrap it from the books. You understand? This is why we can't co-sign this type of stuff. Because see, in 100 years from now, they'll be like, we overcharged RKelly. We shouldn't have put the Mann Act on him. It was a racialized law. We shouldn't have done it. You see, they'll wait 100 years to apologize when you dead and gone and your kids are gone. But let's look at this. The Mann Act. The Mann Act, also known as the White Slave Traffic Act of 1910, is a federal law that criminalizes the transportation of any woman or girl for the purpose of prostitution or debauchery or for any other immoral purpose. Family, that's anything. That's deliberately vague. They made it vague for a reason, so they can target black dudes. And here it says, it was named after Congressman James R. Mann to felonize the use of interstate foreign commerce to transport women for immoral purposes. The act was aimed at prostitution, immorality, and human trafficking. Bullshit, it was aimed at black men. It was alleged that immigrant women brought to America for sexual slavery and immigrant men lured American girls into prostitution. That's not true. However, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. However, many critics note that the act ended up criminalizing many types of consensual sexual activity, and it had racist undertones. Yes. The phrase immoral purpose was broadly used to prosecute unlawful premarital, extramarital, and interracial relationships. It held that illicit fornication, even when consensual, constituted an immoral purpose. It didn't matter if the woman consented, the man would be liable. You understand? So it tells you right here, the law, even if the sex is consensual, if the white mommy and white daddy says that it's immoral, and immoral is an arbitrary designation. What's immoral? Who gets to choose and say what's immoral and what's not immoral? Immoral is something that cannot be measured. There's no measurability of what immoral is. It's arbitrary. And what's immoral? Black men, by nature. That's why they made it so vague. This is why they set a precedent, and 100 years later, over 100 years later, they're still using this bogus law that they set as a precedent to target black men and black people. I can't co-sign that now. That I cannot co-sign. When they dust off certain specific laws just for black folks, no, I can't co-sign that. If you want to charge R. Kelly for pedophilia, peeing on chicks, knock yourself out. Charge him for that and give him the same sentences that you give to the white man. Give him the same thing, but don't. When it comes to black folks, y'all bring out the whole extra damn law book with all of the common laws, because see, this is how white supremacy works. White supremacy works based on common law. Whatever precedent is set, that becomes a common law, even though it contradicts the written law and it contradicts the Constitution. See, when it comes to black folks, they throw these laws out here on our ass, and these common laws and these I'm white and I say so laws. We can't co-sign it. We cannot co-sign that. And again, the whole Me Too movement after Cosby got off, boy, they really needed a win. Cosby getting off,
Switch to the
that kind of messed
Scotiabank
with them.
Ultimate
They needed
Package
a
and get a
win.
$350 welcome bonus.
Boy,
Plus,
they needed
get
a win.
unlimited debit transactions,
They
interactive
needed a
transfers,
big win.
and international money transfers. Conditions apply. Visit Scotiabank.
And now what they're doing, y'all hear about that chick Elvira? Remember the chick Elvira who did that little horror, that little cheesy horror show back in the 80s? Y'all remember her? Well, she got something coming out now where she's talking about how Wilt Chamberlain sexually abused her. Wilt Chamberlain is dead, y'all. This woman then came out talking about Wilt Chamberlain forced her to have oral.
So it's all speculative. The Mann Act. 100-year-old act. And they put it out there for white people. Gotta say it again for what it is, you know what I'm saying? It's your boy Mac Missile, my slogan. Keep it real.